Do you need to top up the coolant in your BMW F850GS? Well, if you do, I'm going to tell you what no one else seems to tell you when you have crash guards. Hi folks, I'm Tim, and you're watching the Motorcycle Adventures of Two Wheel Tim. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to check the coolant level of your BMW F850GS, and I'm also going to show you how to top off your coolant level. But before I do that, I also need to show you what no one else seems to tell you if you have upper crash guards on your BMW F850GS. In general, topping off your coolant level is a fairly simple process, but if you installed a set of upper crash guards on your BMW F850GS like the TourTech crash guards I installed on mine, there is an extra step you need to take in order to get to the reservoir to top off your coolant. The tools I'm going to need are a 10mm socket head, a 4mm hex wrench, a Torx T55 socket head, and a Torx T25 socket head. So let's head outside and I'll show you what's up. So at the most basic level, checking the radiator coolant is done by this reservoir right in here. So here's of course your radiator. This is the radiator coolant reservoir. There's a minimum line here, and there's a maximum line right over here. And you have to have your coolant in between, at least not to exceed the max line. You might be able to see here that my coolant level is right at the bottom, so I do need to top this off. All the instruction videos that I've seen and the instructions in the manual say remove this bolt here, and then there's another one, I don't know if I can capture it right up here. And once you remove those bolts, you can pop off this small side panel here. But what if you have the TourTech or any other crash guard that protects your upper? I have yet to see an instruction video or anything else to tell you what to do there. You do have to remove, or at least loosen this and pull it out enough to be able to pull out this side panel to get to your reservoir. So by doing that, I need to take a 4mm hex and a 10mm wrench and loosen the bolts on this crash guard here. I need to take a Torx head and take off this Torx bolt to be able to pull the crash guard out enough to get to the side panel, which then will allow me to get to my reservoir. Okay, and just to illustrate the complication here so you can see the TourTech crash guard, and there are little clips that clip this piece of the side panel into the frame. Without the crash guards, you can just pop this out like that, and normally you can just pull it right off and then you can access the reservoir. However, because the coolant reservoir is located in here, there's just no way to get to it until I start to release the crash guard. So we're just going to continue that process. Let's do the second one. There is a T25 Torx bolt in here I'm going to loosen to try to provide a little bit more flex in this part of the side panel so I can get in here easier to get to the other bolt in the crash guard. That loosened up this part of the side panel enough to where I should be able to get in here. And now alright, here we go. As you can see here, I was able to loosen this Torx enough to get the crash bar to move enough to pull out this section of the side panel, which obviously just fits right in here. So now once I've got that done, right in here is where you can see the cap for the coolant reservoir, and that's where I will put in my coolant to top it off. BMW recommends a nitrate-free and phosphate-free coolant. So for $17.99 from Revzilla, I purchased the Maxima Coolant coolant, which is a ready-to-use 50-50 blend. It's free of ammonias, borax, and nitrates. This is a funnel that I purchased at the local auto store, and this blue cap actually opens and closes the reservoir inside, and it has a nice long tube, and this long tube makes it real easy to get in here and insert this into the reservoir. And while I'm filling this with coolant, I'll be able to hold it in place and watch the coolant level right down here as it's filling up. So I'm gonna put the camera down and go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so you can probably see here that it's topped off now to the top of the line, and it really only took about 5.5 ounces of coolant to top that up. Okay, so now we just pop the little cap back in. It's nice and secure. And I'm gonna go ahead and put the side panel back on. You can see has these two clips here and here, and those just clip in there and there. So I wish the process for topping off the coolant was a little less involved, especially with the crash guards. But all in all, it was a pretty simple process, and having to loosen and retighten the crash guards, it added about another maybe 30 minutes to the process. So it wasn't really that big of a deal, but you just have to prepare yourself for that extra step if you do have a set of upper crash guards. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications for when I release new videos in the future. I'm Two Wheel Tim. I want to thank you for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.